And joining me now is Minister of Families, Children and Social Development, Karina Gould. Welcome to Power Play, Minister. Always good to have you on the show. So I want to go to Roe versus Wade. I know it's not a big surprise. We had the leaks a few months ago, but it's right here in the dissenting opinion. American women are being told in the dissenting opinion to come to Canada for abortion services. Will Canada allow Americans to access abortion services here in Canada?
Well, look, first of all, Joyce, I think even if we saw that the leak happened a couple of months ago, it doesn't make today any harder for women in the United States or, quite frankly, women around the world. This decision, I think, sends a chill through all of us. It's really disappointing to see. As we talked about previously, we're going to have to see how this rolls out. Canada is going to continue to be there to support women around the world, as we have been for years. But I think we also have to understand that in the United States, there's going to be American states that are going to legislate quickly, like California and New York, to make sure that abortion is legal and accessible and available in their states. And understanding that,
yes,
a low-income teenager from Texas, Canada might not be their first choice.
Absolutely, yeah. And I understand. There is a cost attached to that. But a minority of states maybe will have a possibility for women to have abortions. But in this dissenting opinion, again, let me re-ask you the question. They're saying that women may have to come to Toronto. So my question is, you've probably seen that dissenting opinion. Will Canada accept American women here who are looking for abortion services?
Well, that's something that we are discussing. As we talked about, we will be there. I think there's, lots of Canadians that want to make sure that women who are seeking abortions can have access to them. There's lots of conversations about, medical abortions versus surgical abortions. We're having conversations about this, and we want to be there for American women. Again, it might not be the first choice because there may be somewhere closer for an American woman to go as opposed to coming all the way up to Canada. But I think this is something that we have to look at seriously. We have to understand what the needs are, and I think we need to be there for women in America.
And how would you manage this? We already have huge wait times for medical services and, the fewest beds per capita in the OECD. And maybe 500,000 to 700,000 people waiting, waiting in line for surgeries. And clearly, as you said, Canada wants to do its share, wants to help these American women. How would you manage that?
Well, I think, again, this is a question. A lot of people, when they think about abortions, they think about surgical abortions, but actually medical abortions are, can, depending on what the circumstances in, can be easier to manage, can actually be done from home. You don't necessarily have to come to Canada. But what we also have to consider is what some of these laws in the United States would do. You don't want to be in a situation where a woman who takes a medical abortion and has complications then doesn't go to a hospital for fear of being criminally charged for that. We see that in other countries where that happens. So we need to think very carefully about how we support American women either here in Canada or in the United States. But this is something that, look, I think the women's movement and women are reeling from today. It's just so devastating. If an American comes to Canada for, medical services, they would have to pay out of pocket because obviously we have a single payer system here in Canada. So we need to do some serious thinking about this. We also need to see how other U.S. states react and respond. But it's really a devastating decision, and it's a really sad day for women in the world.
I can't disagree with you on that. I want to get to another topic and move to passports, because you are the minister also responsible for passport services in this country. Now, as well as everybody else has seen these shots and talked to people who are camping, not waiting, camping in line. But yesterday on this show, the head of the union representing passport workers said He warned the government that this was coming months ago. The question now is obvious. Why were you not ready?
Well, look, I mean, the situation that we saw in Montreal over the last week was totally unacceptable. But I also just want to say that while there are lines in other places around the country, Montreal was the most acute, extraordinary, particularly since last Thursday. And we've made changes to how that's happening. But when you have 2,000 people lining up outside of 3 offices, it becomes very overwhelming for the staff. But it's not an excuse. It's totally unacceptable. We did start making changes back in November. We started hiring additional people. In January, 600 additional people had been hired. We're in the process of hiring 600 more. It takes about 15 weeks to train a passport officer. The first class of trained officers will be in processing centers on Monday. So those are people that were hired, 3 to 4 months ago. But clearly, the response wasn't sufficient for the demand that we received. We knew we were going to receive a surge, but we have more work to do, and clearly. I can, promise Canadians that we are absolutely doing that.
Families, Children and Social Development Minister Karina Gould, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Have yourself a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. You too.